Welcome to another video with Paula Anderson, Coach Consulting. I am your instructor, Paula Anderson. Before we get into this lesson for today, which is going to be HCPCS coding, I want to give you a little bit of background about who I am. So I have a bachelor's degree in English, a bachelor's degree in journalism with the emphasis in public relations, and I have a master's degree in journalism and strategic media. I'm a CPC, CPB, and a approved instructor. So I would like for you to subscribe to my channel to make sure that you continue to get content related to medical coding and how to pass the certification exam. So the topic that we're going to be focusing on today is going to be HCPCS coding, which stands for the Healthcare Common Procedure Coding System. So if you have a addition, whether it's 2025 or 2026, I would like for you to follow along with me with this video. So HCPCS consists of level 2 codes, which are alpha and alphanumeric. So most of the codes start with an alphabet. So you turn to your table of contents, and I want you to look at the tabular list. So you see that it's broken down by different categories, and then you have the alphabet that's in front of them. So now we're not going to go into a whole lot of detail with this video, but I do want you to be familiar with the table of contents. So on your CPC exam, HCPCS coding section is a small portion of the exam, so you don't need to worry a whole lot about making sure that you really master this. I think once I go over some of the coding tips with you in this video, you'll be able to understand what you're doing. So one of the things that I want to point out that's in the HCPCS manual, for those of you that are still struggling with your anatomy, so you can look at the anatomical illustrations. So you have a good visual of anatomical illustration that's in PPT, that's in the HCPCS manual. So you can use this as a resource. So you need to learn about the circulatory system. You need to go learn about the digestive system, eye anatomy, lymphatic system, male reproductive system. So all of these illustrations are in the HCPCS manual for you. Now, the way that you code HCPCS is similar to CPC. So you have an index to services, supplies, and equipment. So who uses the HCPCS coding system? It's going to be primarily durable medical equipment. So that's DME providers. But also when you're coding chemotherapy, the drugs come out of the HCPCS coding manual, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So what I would like for you to do is in your HCPCS manual, I want you to go to your index. And because we may have different versions of the manual, I'm not going to give you any page numbers because your version may be different than mine. So I want you to go to the index of services, supplies, and equipment. And it's in alphabetical order. And so these are some of the services that I want you to look up. I want you to look up albuterol. So that's going to be your first example. I want you to look up an annual GYN visit. Look up an annual wellness visit. Contraceptive. And then screening for cervical or vaginal. So those are just some examples that I want you to look up in your index. So again, just like CPT, once you find your code, then you're going to look that up in a numeric and then make sure that it is the right code. Now, I want you to turn to the next section I want you to turn to. So we're just going to kind of go in order. I want you to turn to Appendix A, which is your table of drugs and biologics. So I mentioned when you're coding chemotherapy, you have to code the drugs from the HCPCS coding manual. So at the very top, it gives you the ways that the drug can be administered. So you have IA, which is intraarterial administration, IV intravenous administration, IM intramuscular. You have IT intrathecal, SC subcutaneous administration, INH, which is administration by inhaled solution, VAR, various routes of administration, OTH, other routes of administration, and then oral, administered orally. So these are going to be drugs that can be injected in some form. So that's what you're going to be looking for from the HCPCS code manual. So when you're talking about drugs, you're thinking about the generic name versus the brand name. And so you can go to the Food and Drug Administration website and learn a little bit more about the difference between the generic drug and the brand name. But these are some examples that I want you to look up in your table. So the first drug is cisplatin, that's spelled Cisplatin. The second drug is carboplatin, that's spelled Carboplatin. The next drug, I'm going to spell it, is GEMICTABINE. That's GEMICTABINE. The next one is Neulasta, that's spelled Neulasta, Neulasta. And then the last one is Depo-Provera. So these are just some drugs that I want you to look up. So what do you need to know about the drugs? So once you get the actual code, then you need to think about the dosage. So you have to put the number of units on your claim form based off of the dosage for the drug. So if a drug is 10 milligrams, and then they got 40 milligrams of that drug, then on your claim form, it's going to be 4 units, all right? If the drug is 50 milligrams and they got 150, then your drug unit is going to be 3. If the milligrams is 400, that's going to be 2, so on and so forth. So you get an understanding of how those drugs are, how the dose is going to be translated based off of the units. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about in this video are HCPCS codes. HCPCS modifiers. So you have several HCPCS modifiers. Some of them you're going to have to use on the CPC exam. But this is Appendix B. And so the ones that I want you to look up for the purpose of this video. Now, what I'm going to do is just have you to just look these up so that you can understand what they are. So the first one is AA, AH, AI, AH again, CC, E1, E2, E3, E4, GA, GC, LC, LD, LT, NU, QS, QX, QY, QZ, G8, G9. So these are some modifiers that's in the HCPCS section or in HCPCS manual that you probably see on the exam. So this is the conclusion of this video on HCPCS coding. We're going to spend a little bit more time talking about some other HCPCS modifiers. So I'm going to have a part 2 to this lesson. So stay tuned for more videos from Paula Anderson, Coaching Consulting, and I'll see you in the next video.